we will cover adding a funder and adding an opportunity. For the beta testers, this is something that you can spend time doing to either add previous funders and opportunities or add the ones that you're working with now, or even if you know that you're going to add some in the future, then you can put those in as well. So starting out, let's add a funder. So we could see here that I have a couple funders already entered. And if you want to add a new funder, you would just click Add New. And you would get a screen that would allow you to enter in all the fields. I want to show you one that I've already entered so I can speak to the fields that you will need to enter. So funder name is the only field that's required. So if you want to quickly add several funders and not add a lot of detail behind them, that is quite easy to do. You could just put the funder name in there. There's also a description field and a place where you could add their areas of interest. We also have a type of funder, and there's a drop-down box here where you could select if they're a corporation, donor advised, or foundation, government, individual, or maybe some other type of organization. In this case, for the Walton Family Foundation, it is a foundation. And you could look up on their 990s what their tax ID is. And that field, having that field filled in, will allow us to do future integrations where we can look up this funder and have information such as their 990s, who they funded in the past, and other information about them from either data sources like GuideStar or Foundation Center, those types of information we could integrate to maybe show up here on a tab. So filling those in if you have them or if you could find them while you're inputting funder information is a good idea. Phone number, fax number. In this case, they don't have an email. They have a URL where you would fill out a contact form. So you could put that address in here as well. Their website, what their minimum and maximum funding amount is if you know it. And they also had their Twitter URL and Facebook URL, and you could put those in. And if you know their LinkedIn or other social media, that is something that you could enter as well. When you've entered all that information in, you can save it. And once it's saved, you would be able to add contacts at that foundation or any type of funder. And also, some of them have multiple addresses depending on how large they are. So when you initially set up the funder, right now the screen that shows up on the left-hand side does not accept your address. That is a bug and we are fixing it. So if that happens to you, you can click the button to add an address, and if you fill this in with information, it will save. And adding a contact, you can quickly add contact with just their first and last name and email address. The checkbox for primary contact is to indicate that this is the key person at the organization that you would call for high-level funder-related overall questions. If there's a program director or someone who's just in charge of the education grants, you could add those contacts in here as well to associate them with your grant requests, but they would not be the primary contact. All right. As you can see, underneath the funder, you can add opportunities there. You could add tasks that you would need to do. Maybe you want to meet with them for lunch to discuss what type of funding they have. Maybe you want to set an alert, a task to remind you to go to their event if they have some type of a charity event. And you can keep track of your notes and interactions with people at this funder. Okay, so right now I want to go to opportunity. The opportunity screen allows you to add an opportunity quickly, and if you already have the funder selected, you wouldn't need to go back to the funder screen in order to create that. So why don't we go ahead and look at the fields that we have here. An opportunity name might be your recreation grant from the Idaho Community Foundation, and that might be in the fall of 2015. And you may be able to, if you're able to submit the application all year round and there's not really a deadline, maybe that's something that you want to put in the description, that you're going to set a soft deadline, which means if for some reason you get cramped for time, the proposal deadline that you set down here, you'll know is a soft deadline. It's one where you selected that you wanted to be reminded, but it's not the hard deadline. If you don't have that, you just select this is the proposal deadline, and that's what GrantHub goes off of. The funder, as I mentioned, if you don't have Idaho Community Foundation already in here, you could add it separately by just selecting Add New. Right now, we see that I do have that foundation listed, so I could select that foundation. And the primary contact field, there's been some confusion, so we're going to add more detail there to say that this is the funder contact for this opportunity. And at the Idaho Community Foundation, we know that would be Amy. So we would select that. If Amy wasn't available, we could add new and add a new contact into the Idaho Community Foundation. The owner field is you. So if you, by default, it assigns it to you as you're creating an opportunity. If you would like to assign it to another grant writer in your organization that you've already created, you could select the drop-down box and do that. Most cases, it would probably be yourself, though. Can't get out of work that easily. If you know when you might be notified, or you want to know that if you haven't heard about whether you've been awarded this or not by a certain date, you could put that date in here, or if you don't know, you could leave it blank. The amount requested, maybe you ask for $15,000, but in the past you've only received $10,000, so you're only going to expect $10,000. These two fields allow you to kind of weigh what your probability is if you want to do that. If not, you could just fill out the amount requested. The funding type allows you to categorize, is this can this go to operating support, or is this for a specific program? A lot of times it'll be for a specific program, so you could put them in program funds, and then you could select a specific category. So this one might be your recreation. Oops, I got a cat box on. And right now, GrantHub will only let you select one category to associate your grant with. We've heard feedback that this is a great field to tag and categorize grants on, and if this is something that you would like more, definitely give us that feedback. Even though you hand enter these in, the GrantHub remembers what you've entered in the past, so if you start typing preschool in or something that you've typed in before and hit save, then it'll pop up again so that you won't have to worry about misspelling it if you get it in there correct the first time. Status, that is what stage or where is the application at this time. Are you in progress? Have you submitted it? Do you know what the result is, or are you just researching? So at this point, we're planning to do this one in the future. The application type then is whether it's online or an email format, how do you need to submit it? So if there's a better word for application type, perhaps maybe submission type or something like that might be better. There's been some confusion on what these two last fields are. So again, shoot me your feedback if you're confused by any of these field names. So here I'm going to put that this one's online, and you would go to the www.idahocommunityfoundation.com, and you can then save this opportunity. Now you're able to set tasks underneath this opportunity. So we know that the deadline's in August, but we know we want to get going on our budget. So we could set a task to create a budget for our recreation program. And maybe that's something that we want to assign to Keisha. She is in our finance group and helps with our budgets. So she is not a grant writer, but I can assign her a task and let her know that she needs to work on this and have the first draft of it by May 1st, maybe. And if you want to save this and then add a file, perhaps you have a template that you know you need to put the budget into based on requirements, you can select a file here, and that way when Keisha gets the link to this task, it'll direct her straight to this page, and she will see that there's a template that she needs to follow as she creates that budget. And when she's done, she can mark this as complete. If she's working on it and has notes, she can keep track of notes here, or you could put notes in there as you work together, and that's how tasks are created. You could use this breadcrumb to see and go back to either the opportunity that this task is tied to very quickly, or if you wanted to go back to the foundation even, these breadcrumbs help you navigate quickly through the different levels of funding and opportunities. Another task that you may want to create in some instances, even if you do know when the proposal deadline is, you're not invited to submit a proposal unless you have your letter of inquiry has been accepted. So maybe you have a task here to submit letter of inquiry for recreation program. And that's something that you want to do, and the deadlines to get your letters of inquiry in are on April 1st. And when you save that, again, you will be able to then drag and drop files over here, or click on it and it'll pop up your navigator, and you can put LOI template in there. You might want to put the one that you used last year as a starting point and save that file for use later. And when you do complete it, you would probably want to put your final document here for reference in the future. So I've gone over showing you how to create a couple tasks, how to create an opportunity, and also how to create a fund. There are a few more fields here. When you are awarded or denied an application or a proposal, a few more fields pop up. Let's be positive and say that we were awarded this funding, and we would put how much we were awarded, because sometimes it's not the amount that you requested. And sure enough, we asked for more, but we only got $10,000. Here is where you could set your term date and start date, start and stop date. So this might go from September through August of the next year, or whatever the term of this grant is supposed to be valid for. You can put that in. If there's an award that the funder wants you to track this grant with, you can put that in here. Both the award ID and award details are places where you can put your own information if there's anything that needs to be recorded related to this award. You could add notes. If you were declined, you might want to add a note to why you were declined, or what would you do differently next time. If you've contacted the funder, if you have been awarded, there may be several follow-up tasks or reports that are due. And here's a button that you can use to quickly create a task. And maybe you have a mid-year report that's due, and that would be due about March 1st of next year. And that would be yourself, or you could assign it to someone else, and that quickly adds that task. And maybe you have another task where it's the end of the year. Well, I can't remember when I had it, when the end of the year is, but you get the drift there, and you would set that date and who owns it and add that task. You could add tasks for reminding yourself to send thank you letters. You could add a task if you had somebody else on your staff that was responsible for that. You could add a task for making sure that you return your grant acceptance letter, and many other items here. And if this is a good grant that you want to remember to apply for again next year, you could use the copy opportunity, which will take this opportunity and quickly create a copy, and you can put in that you want to do this in the fall of 2016 as well. And that will create a opportunity in the future and set the deadline to be August 10th, 2016, and put that into the planned category for next year, so that way, while you remember it and you're doing all of your grant follow-up tasks, you can quickly copy it and make sure it's in the workflows, and you get reminders on those dates. So let's go back and look at the Idaho Community Foundation. This is our funder, and right now I had quickly added them and only added a name and one contact. So I could at this time start adding more information if I would like to. I could also see how many opportunities have I been working with them. And I could see that I have 4, but 2 of them are planned for next year. And if I click the View All button, it will show me the ones that even have been awarded. And so I don't have those dates open to be reminded of. So they're filtered out, and we just see the ones that are upcoming by default. So that's a little bit about funders and opportunities. Anytime you can look at your funder list and see all the funders you have listed here. You could look at all of the opportunities. And again, we have this toggle where we can look at all of the ones, and we can see the one that we just created, the 2015 one that we marked as awarded, and then the 2016 one that's planned in the future. And we can also look across all opportunities and all funders and all users in GrantHub. What are all of the deadlines and tasks? If it is an opportunity, you can see a $sign there indicates that this is a proposal deadline. If you see the task icon, then that will show you that that's a task that is something related to an opportunity or funder. And you can see the ones that are open or in progress, and you could also tell this to view the ones that you may have already completed as well. So that's the majority about your funders and how to add a new opportunity and keep track of your deadlines. When you log in, you will be presented with your dashboard, which shows the top 10 upcoming tasks or deadlines. You could also get a quick view of your tasks up here in the upper right-hand corner, and it will show you the next ones that are due, starting with the most pressing one at the top of the list. So those are areas where you can manage and show what you have coming up based on what you've entered. So the next recording that I will show you is how to work with your answer library, and then also how to look at some reports. Thank you.